from the crypt.
Hello, boils and ghouls. Welcome to episode 193 of Dads from the Crypt. My name is Jason. I'll be your host today. And I'm joined by Jody.
Hello.
Hello. So you blowing some 6 smoke rings there while we're doing the intro?
Hey, the intro is a great time to prep your brain for all of this. Also, Tennessee has just decided that, the stuff that's been legal for the last 5 years, never mind. You have till January. And so I'm taking advantage while I still can. We have stupid people in charge.
I mean, yeah.
No, go ahead. There's $1 billion business happening in your state. Let's just kill it, even though it's not causing any problems because somebody's offended by it.
I was going to go on a rant, but Jason gets upset when he can't monitor, when he can't.
When we go on a rant
video, so
before we even get started.
Once we get through the interview proper, you guys can go off the rails as much as you want. My
Yeah,
goal is to get us through there so we have an episode
cool,
to put out.
Right, I will save all my complaints about Tennessee for later.
With everything going on in the country and everything happening in your neck of the woods, Jason, I'm going to go ahead and just keep us on a nice, fun level.
Yeah, we have a good time.
And the other sultry voice you hear is Mondo.
Mm-hmm.
Well done. And joining us, we have a new guest. His name is Evan Uncanny. He also goes by at the Haunt Keeper on Instagram.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. Since it's your first time here, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Oh, geez. This is where I totally freeze up, I guess. I run a horror haunt themed Instagram page that I've run since 2023, the end of it. It's up to 27,000 followers at this point.
Wow.
I just go to all kinds of events. I kind of just cover whatever interests me. It was a little more theme park leaning at first, but I think that's kind of an oversaturated market. So I dip into that a little bit, but I like to cover what interests me because it just keeps a unique perspective. So,
yeah, I came across her profile because we're both at Monster Palooza at the same time, and it got recommended. I'm like, oh, and I saw you brought your daughter. I'm like, okay, this guy's cool.
Yeah. Whenever I'm with her, I bring her to stuff. So
nice.
That's awesome. And yeah, I have noticed there's been a huge influx of theme park and Disney influencer content creator types. It's really it's cool, but it's kind of an interesting niche. There isn't that much that changes, it seems, but maybe there's more than I realize.
I wonder what's going to happen years from now. It's a changing landscape. There's people coming in and out. I think it's always funny when somebody quits. They just hit the burnout point, and they're like, that's it. You'll get the goodbye YouTube video. They're like, it'll be titled goodbye, and they'll get a bunch of hits for that because people are like, oh, they want to see what the drama is. Let's see what's going on. There's some kind of juicy story to it.
Right. Well, and then there's the people who complain because for some reason, whatever their niche is, hits a huge downturn or becomes obsolete. And then they're like, well, I don't have a job anymore. I'm like, yeah, that's what you signed up for. You're like,
whoops. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a creator I used to watch, and when kids would ask him, how do I get into your business? He goes, well, the first thing you should do is have a job. He goes, he's exactly. I'm an engineer. He goes, if this streamer stuff ends tomorrow, I'll be able to find a job. It's going to be okay. Exactly. But
I have a day job. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, somebody wants to pay me full time to do this, great, but I would never. I would never,
nobody has signed up for that yet. But
the
anybody listening who would like to pay us to do this, please.
You just keep your fingers crossed. That day's coming at some point.
Hey, you never know. I had a weird realization with Disney adults because my wife was watching some Disney show the other day. And did your kids ever watch Mickey Mouse Clubhouse or anything like that?
Oh
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
They never addressed the fact that everything in the city looks like Mickey's head. How narcissistic you have to be to you have this city and everything looks like you.
Yeah,
I don't know.
we're
I'm
like,
just saying.
I mean, it kind of seems like Mickey's like a benevolent dictator in this little Mickey Mouse world.
That sounds
Everything's
like-
a tribute.
Yeah, I was saying, I'm like, we're migrating back to the fuck Tennessee
Yeah,
conversation.
Real quick.
Well, we got
Lazy to get there
slowly
lately for
eking
some
our
reason.
way back, and I'm here for it, man. It's cool.
Well, it's interesting. So Kevin Smith has been doing this big thing for the 25th anniversary of Dogma, and he got the rights back. He's working on a sequel. So I watched it the other night for the first time in a long time. I love that movie.
How does it hold up after all this time? I've been curious about that myself because Clerks for me is solid. Mallrats is like solid, but kind of, and I'm like, yeah. Dogma's like maybe like the last one I thought was like still pretty great, you know?
Yeah, no, all the religious stuff and the kind of fantasy stuff holds up really well. The Jay and Silent Bob, especially the Jay stuff, is kind of, you know, it is what it is. But but I remember there was a big controversy over the movie because it was like supposedly religiously blasphemous and stuff. But then I realized
Catholic Church is upset.
Now, there's a whole bunch of FU stuff to Disney because there's the whole movie thing. They go to the boardroom and they accuse everyone of idolatry, and I think that was the real reason that Disney didn't want to do the movie, because they're just taking a big dump on the Disney Corporation.
I mean, that makes sense because at the time, I mean, all those movies were Miramax movies, right?
Yeah, which was owned by Disney.
Disney owned it. Yeah.
So I think that was the real reason, not so much this quote religious outrage.
Yeah, it's funny how the Simpsons mocked them for years, and then they ended up owning 20th Century Fox. It's just like the peak of irony. I love that.
Well, speaking of 20th Century Fox, we have a movie to talk about today called Predator: Killers of Killers, which is now again under the Disney umbrella because it was owned by Fox.
The Predator is a Disney princess.
Yes, the Predator is a
Disney princess now. What's happening?
As it should be. The president and the queen alien. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Or is Prince Charming. Either way you look at it, we got a new Predator movie, which again, I didn't have an animated Predator movie, anthology movie on my bingo card. But after Prey did really well on streaming, there was a lot of tweets and stuff and people talking about how, you know, what if we had Predator fighting ninjas? What if we had Predator fighting Vikings? And somebody actually had a great idea of actually listening to all these people and said, hey, let's make that into a reality. And they were even smarter where they're like, well, let's not use a whole movie and kind of keep repeating Prey, but let's do anthologies so we can actually get to the meat of the story and cram as much amazingness into our story as possible. And that leads us to Predator: Killer of Killers, which is now streaming on Hulu. Jody, tell us about this movie.
Yeah, this is an easy one to describe the plot of because it's very action centric. So there's not a ton of story, but we have three different eras where we see the Predator come and fight some warrior from that era, some like iconic warrior. And so the first we go to the year 841 in Scandinavia, where a Viking woman named Ursa is like the big warrior of her tribe. They're fighting against another group of people, and they come in and they do the raid on them and kill the people who had attacked their people, and you know, just typical Viking fun. And then once they have defeated their enemy, then the Predator shows up. I kind of got the feeling throughout all of these that he's kind of watching all of these scenarios play out to like, who's the most powerful? Well, that's who I'm going for. And in this case, it is Ursa. And so there's this really big, huge, cool predator that then attacks them, kills a lot of their clan, and eventually gets defeated by Ursa, even though her son is killed in the process. And then we see a very quick glimpse of her sitting in some room with like a collar on. Done. Moving on. Second story. I like how quickly the little glimpses right afterwards happen too. Enough to keep you intrigued because I had no idea what was going on.
It gives you a question. You're thinking, are they going to answer this question? And
right.
Like
yeah, because I mean, everything's very straightforward up until you see that, and it's like, okay,
it's a real lean movie, man. You know, it's like about an hour and 20 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, it's tight.
It moves.
84.
Waste no time.
Love it.
Second story is in 1609 in feudal Japan, where two brothers, Kenji and Kiyoshi, which I didn't know anybody's names watching this. Like I missed every bit of that.
I had to write down notes.
But
If only
Kenji and
Jason made a
Kiyoshi,
spreadsheet.
they're the sons of a samurai warrior, and in a final test, they have to fight each other. One brother refuses to fight, the other one does fight and leaves a scratch on his brother's face, and so he runs off. That's Kenji is the one who runs off. So 20 years later, Kiyoshi has become the samurai lord, and Kenji is a ninja, like a wandering ninja out in the wilds. And so he comes, his father dies, he comes home to face his brother. His goal is just to put the same kind of scratch on him that he had done as a child. But his brother accidentally falls over, the railing breaks behind him, and his brother falls, presumably to his death. At that point, once again, Predator shows up, fights against Kenji for a while. Then Kenji falls off that same like balcony, and we see that there's a river down below. Both men are still alive at that point, so they both fight the Predator together, and through working together, they manage to kill the Predator, even though Kiyoshi is killed in the process. And then once again, now we see Ursa and Kenji sitting in some hall thing with a collar on. Moving on. Next story. Our final time period, World War II, 1941, I think is when it starts. A kid named Torres is drafted. He is working in the Navy as a fighter pilot in the Atlantic Ocean. And there's been some dogfights and stuff, but then we see a Predator ship appears using Predator technology, manages to wipe out most of the other ships in the area. And Torres, who mostly is acting as a mechanic, flies this old rust bucket up, goes up against the Predator in his ship and manages to outsmart him using his own technology against him, making his plane into a bomb and blowing him up in the end after, a lot of dogfighting. And then we see at the very end, Torres, after his tour of duty, is at home fixing cars in a garage, and a Predator ship comes and takes him. And now we see what's been happening to all of these people is they have been basically put into like suspended animation, picked up in their time period, and then frozen on this Predator ship to be thawed out at some later date in order to compete as the killer of killers. So they've got these 3 different warriors from 3 different time periods. They put them in a big arena and say, we're going to give you a weapon from your time period. The callers allow them, I think, to understand the Predators, but also they can blow up and blow their heads off. And he says, you got weapons from your time period. So Ursa pulls out this, cool battle axe, and Kenji gets a, samurai sword. And then Torres gets like a pistol from the 1700s. Did you catch the Easter egg from the pistol?
Yeah, well, not just a pistol.
Yeah, it's the pistol that
Raphael Andolini. Yeah.
Appears in Predator 2 and also in Prey. But he didn't know what to do with it because it's a 200-year-old pistol. First, Torres is trying to get them to fight together against the actual enemy, which is these monsters on this planet that they've ended up on. Ursa is very intense lady, and so she wants to kill everybody. Eventually, though, they manage to work together. Torres steals a ship, and they attack the main Predator and manage to get on this ship and start flying away when they get harpooned and trapped. And so Ursa slides back down using her shield down the rope from the harpoon, breaks them free, and then Torres and Kenji go off into the distance as the lead Predator guy says, all right, who wants to go for a hunt? And then it ends.
Yeah, and then there's an insane amount of Predator ships taking off at the end. You're like, oh
yeah. It's bad.
Yeah,
no, it doesn't look good.
30 of them. It's like, whatever.
Well, that's at the end.
It's
Did you see the after credit bit?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah,
I missed.
Yeah, so they kept so they capture
also. Yeah,
so they capture Ursa. And they're bringing her back to the place with all the frozen compartments, and they walk by one, and you see it is I can't remember her name. Naru, I think it is, from Prey.
Naru, yeah.
So,
yes.
After
No, I forgot. There is a scene at the end that shows these three were just a small portion of the Predator's collection of warriors. And like you said, we get to see our lead from Prey, who is also on this ship.
Yeah, well, because at the end of Prey, they give her this. She finds the weapon, so we know at some point she has that. But then we know the Predators have to get it back. And then during the credits of Prey, there's like tapestries or like animation that shows that the Predators come back, but we don't know why or how or what
right.
that's all
I remember
about.
that. Yeah.
So, I guess we have to assume that anyone who has defeated a Predator is probably held in cold storage there now too. So
Danny Glover's frozen up.
Danny Glover's on there.
Yes. I'm still too old for this shit.
Yep.
And like Dutch Schwarzenegger is in there
Dutch
somewhere.
is in there. Yep.
Yeah.
So they're just setting up like a whole, connected world.
Well, I wonder how much of this is going to lead to what we see in the new movie, because Badlands is coming out next year, I think.
This year, I thought.
Like
this year. Okay.
I thought it was like in August
yeah.
or something.
I think
this feels like
right?
This feels like lore that's going to feed into that, because we're going to be on a Predator planet next time, and
November,
getting some good background.
November is Badlands.
Okay.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought was. Oh, you know what?
Cranking
Alien
these
Earth
things
is
out.
August.
Yes, Alien Earth.
Yeah, Alien Earth is August. So so I think they're trying to make, in a smart way, they're trying to like build up a whole universe at some point, because they could have xenomorphs on there. They could have a whole ton of things. All right, Evan, you're our guest. You can start us off. What do you think about this movie?
I thought it was cool. I liked it. I think the strongest Predator movie's got to be the first one. I do like the second one because it's like a Dark Horse comic come to life. And I think fun. I was like in elementary school when those came out, and they were so adult, and we shouldn't have been reading them, but we loved how violent and crazy they were. And the movie really captured that, and so it's near and dear to my heart for that reason. Predators, I thought, was actually really cool. I was kind of bummed out there was never like a sequel to it. This feels kind of like that. It's sort of the same thing. All these mercenaries, killers, whatever, are dropped off in the jungle. It felt like kind of the similar idea. And I loved the arena, the part where they come out in this giant. I think at one point there was like a plan to, I don't know if this was just bullshit or what, but like somebody came up with an idea to kind of have like, it was like to bring Dutch back in and have him in like an arena like that. So when I saw it in this, it was super cool to at least like kind of rework that idea and see like the Predator homeworld and all that. So super cool.
All right, Mondo.
Yeah, I thought this was great. It is very rare that I watch a 124-minute movie and think, man, I wish that movie was longer, because I really hope this becomes a thing. I think there's so much room to do these little anthologies, or even I would love for this to be like an 8-part Hulu series where you just get like every episode is a different little 30-minute compact little story, because there's really no downtime in this. There was no fluff. It was story and action from start to finish, but they still made me care about the characters. And that's really hard to do in an anthology series. There are such small segments. I mean, I really felt they showed the backstory and the trauma of the Shield maiden. I forgot her name already. If only I looked up Jason's.
I'm looking at my notes. It's Ursa.
Spreadsheet. Ursa. Yeah. Every time Jody and I forget something, Jason's like heart just drops a little bit, because he's like, I fucking made the spreadsheet that has all the information on it. If you asshole would read it.
I didn't get the spreadsheet. I need that next time. Come on.
I think he updates it and just hopes we look at it. He used to always link it in chat. Now I think he's just hoping. I can see him looking at his other computer screen, because he's gonna link it now in the chat.
I was like, there's no way I can remember all these names. I got to make notes.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But I just watched this morning and had so much fun with it. And I love the first one. I loved the fact they showed her grief trauma with her having to kill her dad. And then her son dying. And I really thought it was interesting that the Predator never went after the kid. Like when he had the chance, he blew the kid away almost to get him away from the melee. And even when the kid stabbed him with the spear, he didn't go after him. The kid died because of the collateral damage, so to speak. Which I did really enjoy that. I love the second one. But at first, I'll be honest, the animation's a little bit jarring at first, because it almost looks kind of jerky. But by the second segment, I was totally bought into the animation. It kind of dragged me in, and I really love that. And I think the third segment was probably the weakest. It just felt like it was I don't know. I can't really explain it, but it felt very stereotypical of how if you watch like old it reminded me of all things of Quantum Leap for some reason. Like when he used to go get
I agree with that too. That it was the weakest of the three.
Yeah.
It was cool. They got Kyle
it.
Reese in there though. Kyle Reese cameo.
Yeah, I still really enjoyed it though, and I love the wraparound, the idea with the wraparound and the battle, and I thought it was kind of cool when they were fighting like the Predator King or whatever it was, the Warlord or whatever. None of the other Predators jumped in, and I thought that was really interesting. In that, like, no, this is your thing. Like, you have to fight them. Like, we're not hopping in. And I kind of love that about the Predator mythology, that they do have a code of ethics and a code of honor and stuff like that, which just kind of really makes it great. The one thing I would hope for, and it's not going to happen because 20th Century Fox owns a Predator. Wait, do they still own Spider-Man too, though?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Sony. Yeah.
No, it's all under Disney, so technically they do own Spider-Man.
Okay, because right now in the comics, they're doing that right now. If you guys go to your local comic shop, they have 2 issues out of Predator versus Spider-Man, and it has been fucking awesome. And that's all I'm going to say, because anybody out there's reading, I don't want to spoil anything for anyone that's reading the series. But and they did a Predator versus Black Panther. They're going to do more Predator crossovers, and I think like that characters work so well in all these different worlds, because again, it's looking for the strongest of the strong, the badasses to fight. So I really love this, and I hope they do more of it. And I'm really looking forward to Badlands. This made me even more stoked for Badlands.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna hop in. I freaking love this. I love short and concise, and these segments were even shorter. I was figuring they'd be like 25, 30 minutes each. But they were like, some of them were like 20-ish minutes, which again seems very short, but it was just so well scripted that to get enough story across, because each of these have a really strong story. It's not just action.
Right.
Each of them have a great setup. And then like for the first one for the Viking, I thought they were going to set up the son to be the warrior, yada yada yada. But I was like, that's gonna be a bit of a stretch. I was a little skeptical, but then when he dies, like, oh no, they're keeping with the warrior mom, which I really loved. And yeah, the artwork took a minute to get used to, but like there's a whole one shot kind of thing where Ursa breaks into the fort of her enemy, and it's like almost 3 minutes of, I mean, it's animated, but of a continuous like action sequence without cutting to any other angles. And then I rewound it a couple times. I thought it was so awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. Remind me of the Northman.
Yeah, it's very much like like okay, Northman meets Predator. There you go.
Yeah, that sequence was badass. It was so cool.
I love that she was fighting with the 2 shields, because that was like, it's been documented it happened, but it almost never happened. But the one thing I had to look up, because I was like, they actually did. A lot of the Vikings would put sharp metal around the edge of the shield to use it as a weapon, because I was wondering how accurate that was. I love that it was accurate. I thought it was pretty cool.
That's cool. You looked it up, man. That's so I like it.
I like how different the Predator was in each one. How each one had like a unique physique, a different fighting style, different weapons. The second one was good. The setting was really cool. The Predator, that one I thought was kind of okay, but it was great action, really cool action, especially when they're kind of like hopping over the different roofs. And again, the 2 brother characters, I thought they did really well. There's almost no words in that one at all. And they still got able to convey tons of emotion, some humor. It was just really, really well staged. The third one, I felt was a little weak. I thought the main character, Torres, felt almost like a Spider-Man in the way he talked, which kind of took me out of it. And this one, like the physics, I thought it was really cool seeing dog fighting with a Predator ship. I thought that was really cool. But then they got some really weird physics stuff where like at one point one of the fighters like gets out of his plane and like walks on the
that same shit. I was like, oh, like, come
on, jumping on the engine.
He's jumping on the bomb, so like that's on fire. I'm like, okay,
kicking it free. Yes, right.
I just love they're watching a Predator film with this other dimensional creature that kills people, and we're sitting here like harping on the physics.
Hey man, you're not unrealistic. He hung on with the claw of a hammer. Come on, and that went right through the metal in that plane, like it's aluminum can or some shit.
Yeah,
come on now,
It's only when a movie, I'll say it. It's only when a movie's really, really good that I would nitpick on those kind of things, because there's so few other things that I would want to nitpick. And then when we flash to when he's after the battle and everything, and you see that he's being abducted, I thought that was going to be cut to black. And you're like, okay, that's the end of the movie. I didn't realize it was going to be a whole nother section on the Predator homeworld where they like team up together. Like I was like, oh my god, my mind was being blown. And this is like giving us something we didn't know we were going to get that they like hid really well from us. Like I would have been happy if it just ended. I mean, obviously I would want more, but I'm like, okay, that's reasonable. But the fact they gave us a whole other like sequence, it reminded me of Marvel did the whole What If series, which I actually rather enjoyed, where they kind of had like different universes and different characters like doing different things. Like what if Thanos was an Avenger, that kind of stuff. And they're fun stories, but then they actually found a really cool way to tie them all in at the end of the season. So I felt like it kind of took a little bit from that, which I was happy for. So I love the first Predator movie. I watched that as a kid a ton of times. I love Predator 2, like you're saying. It's just so much fun. It's just a big dumb fun movie. But the other sequels, they're good in parts, but they haven't really like coalesced in the way that this one has. So this might be like either number 2 or number 3 in my ranking of Predator movies.
Speaking of a What If series, they did they did a Disney tie-in with that too, where they had like what if Donald Duck became Iron Man. And I'm like, yeah, let's give a duck with anger management problems a super suit.
Then you did mention Michael Biehn is in this, as I think he was the commander of the fighter pilots. So he joins the ranks of people who have been killed in an Alien, a Predator, and a Terminator movie.
Sweet.
Oh wow.
Along with
he's in that rare Bill Paxton territory.
Bill Paxton and Lance Henriksen as well.
R.I.P.
We just need the Jeanette Goldstein voice cameo in the next one, and we're good to go.
That's true. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, overall, I love this. This is the most fun I've had in a while watching a movie.
Did you like it better than Prey?
In different ways. I loved Prey a lot. That was a bit more like capital M movie, where this is more like fun action flick, hard sci-fi kind of thing.
God, I was getting ready to bring up Prey when I got my chance to talk, because we said.
Well, I like to give hold on. I like to give you a break after synopsizing.
It's fine. No, I appreciate it.
Jason usually goes last, so I was like, oh, we're just gonna skip Jody.
No, if I like the movie, I want to jump in before everyone says everything.
Okay.
No, it's cool. It's cool. I know I'll eventually get to do something. But no, you were saying like this is probably your favorite after the initial 2. And I love the first Predator. Second Predator is a lot of fun. I would say, though, I'm going to have to put Prey in there before I say that like all the sequels were a little less, because I loved Prey. I thought Prey was like a return to form for Predator. And going back to a different era and all that, I really enjoyed that. And so I was hyped for this, because I just like the concept. And it was a lot of fun. It was very fast paced. We've mentioned the animation several times, but it was a stylistic choice that works most of the time, I think. And once I got on its level, as far as, this is what the animation is like, and that's what we're doing with it. It didn't bother me. It does take a little getting used to, though. It's not very fluid, It's very bloody. I enjoy that. I like if it's Predator, like people should be getting chopped up. Things should be exploding.
Decapitations.
Yeah. Let me ask you, what was your favorite kill? Because that uppercut, when he uppercutted the dude's head into the beam and he just stuck there, I thought that was like one of the coolest things I'd ever seen.
Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe Ursa with her shields. I've had some fun kills. Yeah. There was one. I don't remember which story it was in, though, but the Predator did a laser and like sliced a dude's head like halfway in half. And
there's like a chain that something like that happened. Where
that
was
think that's Michael Bihn's character, where he like made this whole thing about he's gonna sacrifice so you can go live.
He got real bad.
And then Paris shoots like a harpoon through his plane, pulls it back, and cuts his head right off, like in half.
Ooh, ouch! Yeah.
No, it was.
And he do that thing where the eyes like go wide as his head's being cut off.
Yeah,
I love it. It's fun.
But yeah, no, fun kills, fun. I mean, the action was nonstop when it came in there, and you're right, there is a little bit of story there, but mostly it's just cool stuff happening for an hour and a half. Like, oh, that's cool, and then a couple seconds later, oh, that's cool too, and it was really enjoyable for that. It almost moved too fast. Like it was over before I even, and that may be just me wanting more of it. I do think that the third segment probably was the weaker, and I think probably what it boils down to, like the dogfighting stuff was really cool, but everyone else was like face to face with a predator fighting, and that one's so removed because of the planes. Maybe it's a little less like you're not fighting a predator, you're fighting a predator ship.
That makes sense.
Overall, I like the slow reveal of the wraparound. I didn't know there was a wraparound. I thought it was just going to be individual segments, and so that they did a great job with those breadcrumbs of just showing quick shots, like a few seconds of them sitting there with those collars on, enough to make me go, okay, what's happening? There's something bigger going on here, and I need to know what it is.
Yeah, I watched the first 2 segments, and then I had to put my kids to bed, so I paused it, and then in my head I'm kind of thinking about how are they doing this wraparound, because if there's like centuries of, or like at least hundreds of years apart,
right?
So like it took me a little while to like piece that together, which I'm sure as you're watching, you don't have time to think about those things.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure the executives at NECA were watching this movie going, we have so many new Predators to make now. Because I want all these Predators. They're really cool looking.
They put out a samurai
Predator with the long dreads like that.
Yeah.
Actually, I think is ripped from a NECA figure. Like they made that figure. I mean, it's like similar design, but all that looked, I was like, oh, cool. They probably, inspired that.
On Friday, I got an email from NECA that there's now like a new samurai Predator. So they're already on top of it.
Oh, unrelated, but NECA just also released their Toonie Terror figure line of What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, that just came out.
A couple things that's kind of cool. Like, I thought in the first one, the way they killed the Predator, that's almost an homage to which Friday the 13th is it? Where they tie the boulder around Jason's neck.
Oh, geez, I don't know. I know what you're talking about though, where he's like sunk. Yeah.
Oh, is that Jason Lives?
Chained down. Yeah.
I think it's Jason Lives.
Jason Lives.
And then I was thinking about like The Shallow was kind of like that, the shark movie.
Yeah. Yeah, and the second kill was, I loved how they killed the Predator in the second one, when the Predator cloaks himself and the guy just sees the leaf stop. And then, if you guys were video game nerds growing up like me, granted this happens in a lot of anime too, the way they killed him with the double sword strike after you think they're about to continue their fight was great, because in Chrono Trigger, Chrono and Frog team up to do that combo tech.
Hey, that was my favorite attack. Is one of my favorite attacks in that game.
Same here.
Yeah,
and the way they show the blood just kind of dripping off their blade, I thought that was so good.
The whip with the sword, whipping the blood off the sword, and the green goes on the ground.
Yeah, and then the Predator comes into view again.
Yeah,
it falls apart. I was like, that's fucking cool.
That was my favorite in the whole movie right there. Yeah, for sure.
I have an interesting so what's interesting is I liked how in the first segment too they started off speaking, I don't know if it was Norwegian or Swedish, but a Scandinavian language, and then they went into English, and it kind of reminded me how, if you guys have seen The 13th Warrior with Antonio Banderas, it's a great movie, but everything is being spoken in Norwegian, and then kind of the thing is he's a scholar of language, so as he starts understanding them, everything becomes in English because you're watching the movie through his as him being the main character. And I kind of felt they're trying to do that with that one. What's interesting is in the second segment, it was in Japanese the entire time. But I also wonder if it's just because that first segment just had so much more dialogue. But I would have been totally down for them to do it just completely in a Scandinavian language, because that's why I could not watch the show Vikings, because I'm like, this is a Scandinavian show. It's set in Scandinavia, and you fuckers are speaking English.
Where's the authenticity? Come on, man.
Well, it takes me out of it, though. It takes me a little bit out of it where I forget. I want to be.
Subtitles never hurt anybody.
Yeah.
So, well, in this one too, though, I was kind of glad that they switched to English eventually, just because there's so much action happening to also be reading while all that action's happening. I feel like I'm gonna miss something somewhere.
Yeah, I'm saying that's why it didn't bother me, is because how they kind of when they first are going on the ship, they're speaking in whatever Scandinavian language it is, and then they just slowly transition to English. I don't think it's as jarring as just when they're all just speaking English from the start.
Right. Well, and in the second one too, I think there's only like one line at the beginning and one line at the end. Like there's no dialogue through the entire.
Yeah, it's very, very sparse dialogue. Yeah,
thing. So it works to do whatever they want to with that one.
What's cool is for the second one, the Japanese one, they had the actor Louise Zawa, who played Hanzo in Predators.
Cool.
He came back to do that language, so he's actually a returning actor, which I thought was really cool.
Oh, it was a great character in that movie too. The Yakuza.
He was a really fun character in that one. At first, I was a little disappointed they didn't change the animation style to fit more closely the style of each segment. But then once I saw that it was all connected, it made more sense at that point.
I think if they changed it, it would have been a little bit jarring.
It would have been, but again, if they were completely disconnected, it would have made it a little more fun. But now to see the overall picture, it makes more sense.
A little bit.
And what was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say.
We don't know, Jason. We don't know. You're always so unprepared.
Well, I have to think while you're
so come on.
While you're thinking that through, I have to think that part of what's going on with animation and CG in particular is they're trying to make it more interesting again, because when CG animation first became a thing, everything started looking very samey. And so now we've got stuff like Spider-Verse, we've got stuff like Mutant Mayhem and other things that are still using the CG animation, but they're adding a lot more stylistically going on. And it is much more interesting to watch. Like Spider-Verse, first movies they were trying to mind-blowing with the way they look, you know.
Yeah, because at first they were trying to prove that CGI could look real.
Sorry.
That's it. Because at first they were trying to prove that CG could look realistic, and then they realized we don't have to be realistic. We just had to be fun and interesting, and so they went more style.
The thing I was going to go ahead.
I remember the thing I was going to say. So you finish your thought.
I was just going to say, I feel like that the folks who are doing CG animation are getting more creative and trying to put more of a stamp on it, and so sometimes it's going to end up with some jarring animation, but also I think it makes it more interesting to watch overall.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So going back to kind of how they were talking in the different languages, I thought it was really cool how each one of them, their perception of the predator was kind of represented. So Ursa the Viking said it was the Grendel King, and then the Japanese warrior called, said it was a demon, and then Torres said alien. So they all kind of like have their own cultural understanding of what was kind of happening in their own context. So that was really cool too.
And also, I like the big final battle, speaking of different contexts, because nobody could speak the same language. They're having to try to figure out how to work together while also fighting each other, while not understanding each other at all. So it made for a really cool dynamic between the three of them.
But and they also took into account how they each defeated the predator. Ursa defeated by, I don't want to say by brute force, but by the cunning of a warrior. Them versus teamwork versus engineering, whatever. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
very cool. All right, let's wrap up. We do a rating of 0 to 5, 5 being the best, 0 being the worst. You can do half points. Jody, I'm going to start with you.
Oh, is it because I complained earlier that I had to wait a little bit?
You had nothing to do, so.
All right, squeaky wheel. I know how to get on the show more. All right. No, for me this is a 4 out of 5. It's really cool, but in the end, it's not like, I don't know if I'm going to revisit it a ton just because it's so quick and I don't know. There's just something that wasn't quite there magically for me the way that Prey I left going, I will watch this movie 100 times. This one I went, I really enjoyed that. I'll watch it again sometime, All
right, Evan.
Also 4 out of 5. So I would put, if I was going to rank the movies, it would be Predator, Predator 2, Predators, and then Prey is interchangeable with this movie probably. But yeah, it's a little longer. It's a little more put into it, so it probably maybe lean in that direction. All I know is it The Predator was the Shane Black one? That's all the way at the bottom. So
I remember that one being fun, but I haven't watched it since it came out.
There's fun bits in that, but they changed the script a ton, in the middle of it, and you can tell. And it just
it's one of those I think can be fun as a popcorn movie if you just like seeing people blow up and stuff. But think
Also,
too
is
deep
that-
about the
Predator 2 is
magic
for, though.
autistic child, and it gets a little bit weird.
Is that the one where they're like in the van or whatever, and the Predator kills one of the guys and holds his arm out or something like that?
Yeah.
I remember I was a little high and laughed so hard at that one. I still remember that.
You're all full transparency. This is what happened. Yeah.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with enjoying a movie.
True.
All right, Mondo, what's your rating?
I'm also at a 4, and I think if we gave quarter points, I'd be at a 4.25. So I was kind of battling whether to give it a 4.5 or not. I think it was a lot of fun. I will probably watch it again because I was so entertained by it. But I think next time it'll be just kind of background noise while I'm doing something else. But I don't mean that in a bad way, though. I mean that because it's when I get a chance to glance at it, it's going to be fun stuff. So, but I really hope this opens up for a world of more animation and more stories like this. 'Cause I think this anthology stuff works really well in the Predator universe. And I will say, I think my favorite Predator movie of all time might actually be Prey. It might be.
It might be for me too.
Yeah, it just I don't know. I kind of want to go back now and watch all of them, but except
You're
for
making
Alien
me
vs.
want to
Predator.
revisit it now. I'm like, did I miss something? This is like a bitchy nerd complaint, but I was bummed out that they didn't go more practical. Like there was like a lot of CG. So that was kind of like, but I mean, yeah, I kind of like the core of the story and everything was solid, I thought. So
I think it came out in the right time. Like it came out in 2022. After we're just we're getting out of the pandemic, and it was like a fun movie. I think that kind of I think it took me off guard, which is one of those which I saw a Predator movie coming straight to Hulu. How good is this going to be? And then I was like, oh wow, this is
true.
actually good.
Sure.
So, and it could be some recency bias too, because I haven't seen the original probably in 6-7 years. So I kind of want to go back now and revisit all of them.
Yeah, like it would be nice to give Prey a theatrical release at some point.
Yeah,
yes,
I would love to see it.
Maybe to hype up the next movie, but is the next movie going to theaters?
Yeah.
The next movie's in theaters. I feel like they might do a re-release of Prey for that.
They should,
It'll be in IMAX. The next one.
Yeah.
All fancy.
Oh, and I said that I probably wouldn't be rewatching this one a ton, but at the same time, I also finished the movie last night, and I was like, okay, so one of my kids wasn't here for this, who loves like action anime and stuff like that, like Attack on Titan and stuff like that. I'm like, I need to watch this with them. They're gonna love this movie.
Sure,
like
my kid would too.
I mean, it's violent, but I don't. If you've got a kid who can handle some blood, then this is a fun one to watch with them.
It's not going to be an easy world, man. They got to get used to this kind of shit.
All right, I'm doing a 4.5 on this. Just really enamored. I want to watch this again and again and again. I'm really chopping at the bit for it and chopping. It reminded me of being a kid watching, Schwarzenegger and Jesse Ventura and Apollo Creed. And all those guys just in the forest going head toe to toe with an alien. Just how badass that was. And this kind of just really brought me right back there. And my only knock, a little bit of a couple of the things on the third story, and then like again in the end, she takes a battle axe and he blocks it with a katana sword. I'm like, that probably wouldn't go very well for me.
You don't know that though. You don't know that. It's
maybe it's a Predator made blade. You can sci-fi that if you want.
Yeah.
But I thought it was funny they left him like the little bag of gunpowder, and then like he's gonna know when using it.
That was really funny.
We laid all the accessories out for you just in case, you want to learn on the fly here,
Did you? I just said the Predators are so in tune with history, but they don't realize the difference between the 1700s and 1940 or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, it's true, huh? We time traveled, we did all this shit, but here's the flintlock pistol. Yeah. And again, it's like the one from Predator 2. It's like, come on, we don't remember that hard.
The fact that they really threaded the needle on this is just so mind-boggling, and just how smart everything is put together.
One writer too. That was
So so the guy who wrote the screenplay, Micho Robert Rotor, he wrote Meteor Apocalypse and Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus for Sci-Fi Channel.
Hell
he was also the development executive for the Sharknado franchise.
Oh wow.
Interesting.
This movie's a home run. Like it's good. It surprised me actually. I was like, how it's an animated Predator movie. It's Disney. Like, how good is this going to be? And I'm like, well, shit, it's actually good. So,
the one thing I can say that maybe his background in Sharknado, the man gets spectacle. Like he gets big things happening on your screen that are interesting to watch. So,
but again, it's all those little stories that they're able to
Mhm.
tie into this huge tapestry, and just to really like knock it out of the park on that level was just really satisfying. I will bet money that they are going to do another one, and it's going to have Schwarzenegger voicing Dutch.
Oh
Team
man,
with
that'd be so
Naru.
I
cool.
can see that.
How amazing! Like, just
We
I'll
gotta
give
get
them
Danny
all my
Glover
money
back
for that.
too.
I could live
With
with
what?
So we got to get Danny Glover back too.
Oh yeah, with Danny Glover. Oh,
Yeah.
1,000%.
That's the advantage of animation. You know,
Mhm.
Arnold may not be able to move like he could in the 80s, but he
Very
could
true.
still sound the
Yeah.
same way. Or
It's
at least
true.
close enough.
And also, you could just go in and do like a day's work of voice of grunting and
Yeah.
call it a day.
I do feel like after this and Prey, though, that the franchise is in good hands with Dan Trachtenberg. Like I'm happy with what he's been doing. So yeah, bring on Badlands.
Yeah.
I agree with that too.
All right. Well, let's take a quick break to do a shout out.
Hey, I'm Kevin Dillon. You're listening to Dads from the Crypt. Victory!
Speaking of people I want to see fight a predator.
Yeah, I've
All
seen
right.
it.
Mondo, all the Dillon brothers fighting the predator. There you go.
Down with
Versus
that.
all the Baldwins.
Dude, I was just gonna say that. I'm all in on that shit. That sounds great.
All the Dillons and all the Baldwin brothers fighting a predator. Make it happen. All right, Mondo, give us your song of the day.
I'm just gonna roll with this band from Sweden back from the '90s called Soilwork, which I don't like their newer stuff, but their old stuff was pretty solid. They're one of those Gothenburg bands, same vein as like In Flames and Dark Tranquility, those bands that came around that time. But they released a record back in 2001 when I was a young, impressionable senior in high school, and it was called A Predator's Portrait. I don't think they ever kind of hit that high ever again, so I kind of lost interest after the next album came out. But I just picked it because it has the word predator in it, and it's the first thing that popped in my head. And the song I'll use, my favorite song off that record, called Like the Average Stalker. And check it out. It's melodic, and it's I guess it's kind of fun. It's not depressing, so I'll give it that. So Average Stalker off the record A Predator's Portrait by the band Soilwork, not to be confused with the American band Soil, who,
as often happens.
fun story, that band got big for a while. The dudes that started that band were in a death metal band before that called Oppressor. Back in the middle 90s, they released a record called the Solstice of Oppression, which is fucking killer. They played Maryland Death Fest last year, and I miss them because they're playing at the same time as one of my bucket list bands. So still bummed about that, but one day I'll figure it out.
One day. All right. Thank you, Mondo. Jody, give us some more news.
All right. Well, one quick thing I wanted to mention, because Mondo said this is kind of fun, it's not depressing. We did hear from Zach Kreger that his new movie, he's the guy who made Barbarian. His new movie that I can't think of the name of right now, where all the kids run away at night.
I think it's Weapons.
Weapons. Yes.
Yeah.
He said it's going to be a fun horror movie and not a depressing movie, which that
Really?
first trailer, kind of looked depressing to me. So I'm in with that. All right, let's start with releases. Since the last time we talked, a couple things have come out worth mentioning. A24's Bring Her Back is in theaters, and it's the new one from the same people who did Talk to Me.
Love that movie.
Have not seen it yet, but I've been hearing, some pretty decent buzz about it.
I told my daughter to go see it. It is good.
Good.
It is very depressing. You will not walk out of the theater feeling good. There is a cool Easter egg apparently on the Twitter account for I don't know who did it, but I saw that if you just Google Bring Her Back dark web, they do like a fake dark web page where you can buy like videotapes they show in the movie. You can't really buy them, but it's pretty fucking creepy and pretty cool viral marketing. Just FYI, I think it's worth checking out.
That's cool.
Yeah. Some other releases. The biggest one that we have that came out recently is Ron Coogler's Sinners is now available at home for you to watch. I know Mondo said probably his favorite movie of the year. I haven't had a chance to watch yet. It's
like unbelievably good.
It's one of those that I want to like have a movie where I can be, or a night where I can be like, all right, I'm here for a movie now. Like I'm not going to be doing anything else. I'm going to watch this. So that's why I haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah, I think again, I think Jason talked about it. Some of the complaints are that like the horror element doesn't really come in towards till the end. But I would say as a
halfway,
film,
it's late.
Still my favorite of the year. Period.
Same. Right. Yeah, it's very strong, and I think the true test to something like that is something gets better every time you watch it, rather than like, oh man, this isn't holding up to repeat viewings. And that movie gets better every time you watch it. It's really good.
I haven't watched it a second time yet, but I really want to. I just loved it that much.
I saw it 3
I did
times.
watch it a second.
Damn.
Yeah, right, I saw it. Well, it would have been twice, but I went to the Irvine Spectrum to see it in 70 millimeter IMAX, and the projector broke. So they hit us with the digital version, which was still fine. But then I came back again for the 70 millimeter, and it was just like it does not get any better than that. It was incredible.
I'm so jealous. I saw when they showing pictures of the reels.
You gotta go. You gotta see that shit. It's amazing.
Yeah, they didn't. I saw it in IMAX, but they didn't do 70 millimeter here in Vegas.
Still, I guarantee you, when award season comes around, it'll be back out because they sold out every showing. Like every time I went to see that movie, it was completely full. And I think Delroy Lindo's a lock for best supporting actor for that movie. He just killed it.
Oh, without question. Without question. God, it's so good.
The other release worth mentioning right now is we have Dangerous Animals in theaters, which is the new serial killer shark movie by Sean Byrne, who did The Loved Ones and Devil's Candy, which are both excellent movies. So I can't wait to watch this. I hear nothing but fun things about it.
I just saw it. It was great. I really enjoyed it. I wouldn't call it. I didn't like it as much as The Loved Ones.
The Loved Ones is hard to touch.
The antagonist in this, fucking Jai Courtney is the guy's name, I believe. He is fantastic in this. My one complaint about it is they wrap it around with this weird love story that gets really cheesy, almost takes you out of the movie a little bit. But it's still very good. I recommend everybody go see it. I had a fun theater experience with this because I got there and I'm the only person in the theater. I'm like, fucking A.
That's the best. Except when somebody comes in and they sit right next to you and you're like, what are you doing?
A group of kids come in. When I say kids, they could have been early 20s, late teens. I don't know.
They're
I'm
kids.
fucking old. I'm
Kids
fucking
to
old.
us.
They're kids to us, yeah.
They go to the back aisle and they're talking through all the previews, which I really don't care about because
previews are
whatever.
But you're thinking you better stop when this shit starts.
Then they do. And my hearing's not great. So when it got quiet, they're laughing and making jokes about the movie. So I'm like, all right, my brain goes, how do I handle this without starting something? Because I want to tell them to shut the fuck up, but I know that's not going to go over well. You have 3 dudes and 2 girls. That's not going to go over well because they're going to want to puff their chest out with bravado, and then I have to kill some high schoolers. I don't want to do that or whatever. So I just said, hey guys, really? Can we keep it down? And one of the dudes goes, sorry, man. And they're quiet for the rest of the movie.
Nice.
It was enough. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then as we're leaving, one of the girls like, I'm sorry, we thought we were the only people in the theater. And I was like, oh no, you guys are super cool. Like I said something, you guys are quiet, you guys are awesome. I did not expect it to go that way.
Experience for teenagers.
It warmed my heart. That was a nice experience.
Question. Jody described this as a serial killer shark movie. Is the shark the serial killer?
No. It's a serial killer who uses a shark as part of his serial killing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Well, now I want a serial killer shark movie.
That's probably been made. I'm sure there's the Sharknado people have made 3 of them already.
I mean, dude, just all we need is a movie based around King Shark from DC. And you walk around chomp people's.
I agree.
Have you guys watched the Harley Quinn TV show?
Oh yeah.
No.
I haven't.
Well, one of my favorite scenes is King Shark, and he's walking through a room. He's on the phone. He's talking about, I just appreciate you give me these tasks. Everyone thinks I'm just a killing machine. Then he bites this person's head off and just keeps talking on the phone like it didn't just happen. That's a great show. If anybody hasn't watched it.
Show. Well, speaking of animated shows, another thing I want to talk about is we have a trailer for Night of the Living Cat, Takeshi Miike's anime series about a cat apocalypse. Night, like Nine, yeah. It's silly. But
okay, is it cats as zombies or
no. Okay, listen. This is sometime in the future. The world is dominated by cats, and there's a virus so that anyone who touches a cat turns into a cat, and it's a neandemic, according to this. Okay, they rub against people, it turns them into cats.
Does it happen instantaneously, or do they like transform?
I
like
don't know.
David Kessler?
I don't know. I just know Takeshi Miike is making this insanity, and I don't. It doesn't even sound like horror. It sounds very silly, but Takeshi Miike, it's going to be something I will watch.
I imagine the conversation. Yeah, I imagine the conversation with my EK go, "Hey, do you want to direct this movie?" Sure.
Yeah, well, I think that's how he does every.
It's about anime. Yes, sure. Yeah, whatever. It's a job. I'll take it.
That man cranks out movies. I think at one point he was doing like 50 movies a year for a while. Like the man, he just does stuff, and some of them are pretty typical, like not Takeshi Miike movies, and then some of them they give him the freedom to do whatever he wants to do. So
the one he had on Netflix maybe a year or two ago, Lumberjack,
yeah,
that was pretty good.
Yeah,
definitely worth watching.
So anyway, Night of the Living Cat is coming out sometime. We also have, I don't even know if I can call it a trailer because it's like 30 seconds long, but the new Hell House LLC Lineage. This is the final movie in the Hell House series. It's the only one that's not a found footage movie. So I still don't know how I feel about it. August 20th, theatrical release date. It shows a little bit of that clown. The clown. It's the Hell House clown.
I think they went everywhere they could go with the found footage concepts. I'm kind of interested to see what they do with this.
Yeah, me too. I will watch it. That's a inconsistent series for me, but when it hits,
Yeah. Maybe it'll be Book of Shadow-esque.
Sure. I'll take it.
Me too.
All right. One more trailer, teaser type trailer. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I'm moving normally on your screen, but everybody is like moving like it's the animation from this Predator thing we just watched. It's kind of choppy.
That's like you're moving too. That's fine.
Okay. As long as the recording's still okay, we'll just keep going.
You sound great.
Okay. We got the first trailer for Stranger Things season 5, and most of it's a flashback to previous seasons. There's a little bit about what's coming up, but the main thing we get from it is a schedule. On November 26th, Thanksgiving Day, we are getting the first 5 episodes of this new series. Then we're getting first 4. Then we're getting 3 new episodes on Christmas Day, December 25th, with the finale airing on New Year's Eve, December 31st. This is a weird release schedule. Releasing all on holidays. When Netflix is very particular about making sure people watch it when it comes out, like that's how they decide whether or not to keep things going. I know this is the end of this one, so it doesn't really matter. But people are going to be busy doing other stuff. So I have a feeling Netflix numbers are not going to look great unless people just decide like, I'm not going to hang out with my family this year. I'm going to watch Stranger Things.
Stranger Things instead.
I don't know.
Both.
It's a weird for Stranger Things. Yeah,
I mean, it could go, it could go either way because those are also usually associated with longer weekends.
Yeah.
So but then again, people might be watching it together, so it might look like lower numbers because 5 people might be watching it as a family or with whoever they happen to be with for the holidays. It's interesting, but sure, why not?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, this is the 5th season. Millie Bobby Brown's been married for 3 years. Like it's let's just get more straight. Let's get this story wrapped up.
Yeah,
I still enjoy.
They're de-aging them, aren't they, for this? Or I've
I
read
don't
somewhere
know.
that they were.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I feel like they have to do something.
Yeah,
These kids are way older than they were when it started.
They're all
I did
50
see
years old now.
I did see a video where they up-aged them to look like old, like they were geriatric.
Oh,
That's pretty fun.
Go back to the first seasons and make them all older so that it all makes sense timeline wise.
Yeah,
but I still enjoy Stranger Things. I thought season 4 with its Nightmare on Elm Street-ish like twist, I enjoyed that. And
you can't convince me that wasn't them trying to get the rights to make a new Nightmare on Elm Street film.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'm gonna watch this. I don't know if I'll watch it on Christmas Day or not, but I'll watch it sometime right around there. And finally, one more thing I want to mention. we're getting 4K releases of Sleepaway Camp 2 and Sleepaway Camp 3 from let's see who's the one doing this one. Scream Factory is going to be making those. Cool. Scream Factory, of course, is going to have all the bonuses and all the extra material. I love Sleepaway Camp 2. Sleepaway Camp 3 is pretty good, but Sleepaway Camp 2 is probably my favorite of the series. And I know that's sacrilege, but it's very goofy. It's very silly. It has a huge body count. It's just 80s slasher, just perfection for me. So
I'm with
I'm excited for 4K.
I wonder if they're going to do a 4K for the first one, because that's my jam.
Yeah. Have they already?
Did. I'm pretty sure
they
have a
already.
Blu-ray.
I think they have. I'm almost sure I have a 4K of it. I don't know though.
I feel like it would have gotten one before part 2 would have.
Yeah, they've like released stuff on Blu-ray and then they go back and like there's a bunch of ones they've redone as 4Ks. So I'm like, fuck, I got to buy it twice, but you got to do what you got to do. I'll buy Jaws like 20 times if I have to.
Yeah,
the same kind of shit.
And no one blame you.
Yep. The 50th. Oh, I'll buy it. Oh, there's a documentary on it. Okay, fine. So.
Yeah, it's got a new 30-second clip. Done.
But yeah, that's all I got.
It's on horror news, but just something near and dear to my heart. August 4th, also my anniversary, is the release of the new season of King of the Hill.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That's definitely something to be excited about. I love Mike Judge. He's super cool.
I'm super excited for this. Just saying.
The little snippets they've shown us so far look good. Like the design of the characters and everything, aged up all these years. Like I'm happy with where they're going, I think.
It's
funny.
Cool
and of all the characters, Boomhauer somehow aged the most.
Yeah.
like somehow Bill didn't age as much as Boomhauer did. I don't know how that happened. We'll see. We'll figure it out.
It's funny. Is that on Hulu? Where's that going to be?
On Hulu.
Yeah. Hulu.
Okay, cool. Yeah, like I thought his Beavis and Butthead revival was pretty good. Like that.
I liked it.
Yeah. I'm with you. They had this weird, I think 5 episodes they did on MTV when they first revived it that you just can't find anywhere. And it sucks. There's an episode
with
frog
baseball and all that.
No, that's the original.
Okay.
That was the first episode.
The revival. Okay.
The first revival they did. Now they have the revival on Hulu or Max or whatever. Was it on Hulu? I can't remember. Peacock. Paramount.
Yeah, Paramount Plus.
Is the rivals at. Yeah, but they did this fun episode where Beavis befriended a rat. And I don't know why. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I can't find this shit anywhere. So I'm just saying it's fine. Well, I haven't looked on some of the places I should be looking. That's another story for another day.
Okay, I just did a quick Googling. The original Sleepaway Camp is not on 4K at the moment. Just the Blu-ray.
Probably a rights thing, then I'm guessing, if somehow 2 gets a 4K before the first one does.
Yeah, that's weird. I just want to say real quick, there's a trailer I saw this week, which we're at a point where I wasn't sure if this was like a AI remake of a trailer, but it was Luc Besson's Dracula. And I could have sworn it looked exactly like Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, but someone put it through 4K and said make it more French. But I looked it up and it's a real movie. So who the hell knows? With Christoph Waltz as Van Helsing.
Wow,
it's a very bizarre movie.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I think
Dracula, a Love Tale.
Yeah.
Caleb Landry Jones is in it.
I don't know about that title though. It should just be Dracula.
Yeah. But again, they're kind of
that subtitle makes me uncomfortable. I'm like, where are we going with this?
I'm still waiting for what.
Much like the Francis Ford Coppola one, they're kind of leaning into the whole Mina love triangle thing.
Okay.
I still want them to do an actual play based off the Dracula play from the movie I Love You Man. Not Love You Man. What is it? Forgetting Sarah
Marshall. The puppets. I love that scene so much.
Yeah, I still want that. I still want to see a full version of that.
There's a clip that comes up on my TikTok every once in a while of them at the table read, where he plays it for the first time in front of all the rest of the cast, and they're just dying. It's amazing.
I still need to see Friendship because they call it I Love You Man, but psychotic. And but in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, my favorite scene is still when they're asking him to make he's making a soundtrack like the CSI show, and he does some Seinfeld little jazzy tune. And they're like, can you make that more depressing? Like getting your dick bit off by a dog is a bad thing.
Dark and brooding. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Bum, 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 bum. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we close out, we have a tradition here at Dads in the Crypt where we ask our guests to give dad advice.
Wow.
So, Evan,
you blindsided me. What am I supposed to do?
well,
Go ahead.
As we try to do here on the show.
So, I mean, you're a spooky dad. You're raising a spooky child. What
Sure.
advice would you like to give our audience?
And it can be any kind of advice, like as a dad passing wisdom on to the audience. It doesn't have to be about being a dad necessarily.
Our first episode, our advice was to use American cheese on our grilled cheese sandwich, so it can be literally anything.
Stand by.
Yeah.
Can I tell a story about something that happened?
Oh,
Yes,
please.
go for it.
Yeah.
I did take my daughter to the Black Keys show in San Diego on Wednesday.
Oh no way.
You know, it's like her last week of school, and I just was like, last minute, I'm like, fuck it, let's get tickets and go, because I take her to shows and she enjoys herself.
How old's your child? I don't think we ever asked. How old's your child?
She's 8. She's 8.
Oh, cool.
So, but she's been going to shows since she was like 2, and I've always involved her in stuff, and she's always like a part of the adventure. But yeah, so we were in the second row, and then show's kind of going along, and security comes over, and you know, because a bunch of people in the front row had cleared out, and they were in like against the barricade just right at the edge of the stage. So security basically like saw us, you know, saw me with my kid and kind of trying to take care of her and everything. And he's like, yeah, come on up to the barrier. So they put me right in front of Patrick Carney, the drummer, right? And so Patrick was watching me just take care of my daughter. And he broke a stick like probably 3/4 of the way in the show, but he like waves it like, here, you know, gave her the drumstick. So that was cool.
That's awesome.
And then like she was like playing along with them on the barrier, and I got this cool video of the end of Little Black Submarines where shit just goes off, right? And she's like keeping time with them and shit. It was really cool. So I posted that online, and I tagged him, and then he DM'd me, and we started talking, and he complimented me for being such a great dad, and he's like something like, good job killing it in the dad game, like there's not many who do, or something like that. And followed me and shit. I'm like, fucking crazy, man. So
that's awesome.
I guess the magic is working for me. So I don't know.
Well, I think it's a cool thing when you can involve your kids and stuff that you love. And they enjoy too. Like that's like the kicker.
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. She loved the show. She had a great time, and we had a great memory. And he was really nice to us and everything. So yeah,
that's awesome. What my daughter is gonna be 23 this year, and my favorite thing is being able to go to concerts with them now. Be able to go hang out. We can go grab a beer before. Like we saw a couple bands at the Observatory in San Diego, and well, actually we for their birthday
it's a great
in December.
Venue.
It was awesome. We saw Amigo the Devil at the Observatory in California,
cool.
and then saw King Diamond at some weird amphitheater that with no floor, which is kind of weird seeing a metal band with no floor. But it's kind of cool. It's really cool. I'll say, even, you know, granted, my child's 15 years older than yours is, but that's something that they're going to carry with them their whole life, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I try to like just make as many memories as you can with your kids, spend as much time with them as you can. So
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like,
that's
if you want to take your story into advice, just do cool stuff with your kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like stuff that's cool for you, stuff that's cool for them, and you know, those are the things they'll remember.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to event staff that see parents that might be struggling or something like that, and they just do something to help out. I love that. I took my son. My whole family went to go see Pink. My daughter's a huge fan, and my daughter got nice tickets, and I took my son, who, you know, was on the autism spectrum, and we just kind of got nosebleeds just to kind of be there with him, and be part of the spectacle. And he was not having how loud it was and how high up we were, and the staff just like gave us tickets for the box seats at Dodger Stadium, so we got to go down there and get these like really nice like there's like they weren't high, they were just looking straight on, and the fact that they were able to do something really nice really warmed our hearts. So we love that.
Dude, that's great.
Awesome.
All right, well, that wraps up another episode. Evan, thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you?
Sir.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me on Instagram at The Haunt Keeper, and then I'm also on TikTok, but it's like I have like 2 videos, and I'm afraid of it, kind of. I'm just like, I'm going to stake down my spot so no one else takes it, but like, I don't know what to do here yet. We'll get to that another time. So
I still don't understand it. It seems like it's for people that are way younger than me. So
I'm just like, I just like Instagram better. I like the way it works. I understand how to kind of like, push myself on there and everything. I don't understand TikTok at all, but
you have to do some weird dance and like point at words or something.
Right. Yeah.
No, I just post
voiceover videos, all that stuff. Yeah, totally.
I follow some comedian podcasts and they don't complain, but they think it's stupid that they'll post a comedic clip or whatever and they'll get 20,000 views, and then some influencer will just lip sync what they're saying and they'll get like 1 million views.
Yeah. Right.
That's
yeah,
weird.
Totally.
Evan, are there any creepy events happening in the Southern California area? Me and other Denzians of the area should know about?
Oh, well, I mean, next weekend, Queen Mary's having kind of sort of they're doing kind of these in-between haunt events. Some of the places are, Universal kind of did something. It wasn't like haunt related, but Fan Fest. I don't know if any of you guys heard of that. It was very cool. We went out for one night and that was cool. But Queen Mary's doing something on Friday the 13th and then it sold out. So they did the 14th and then that sold out. So I'm going on the 14th with my daughter and a couple of my friends. So it's like, I think it's called Butcher's Blackout or something like that. My daughter's tough. Like we go to Scary Farm. She goes through the mazes and yeah.
We've been a couple times. That's a lot of fun.
What's up?
Not Scary Farm. We've been a couple times. It's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's great. Horror Nights is probably like the peak of everything, as far as haunted events and stuff like that. But
we should do something for Horror Nights.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'd love to, man. There's lots of cool stuff like that, getting into haunt season. The only thing I know other than so the Queen Mary thing is next weekend, but that's sold out. Other than that, I think we're looking at Midsummer Scream is like the next thing, right?
Yeah, probably.
Or is there another Creep IE in between that though? Maybe
they have like a Geek Fest or something like that.
Yeah, they're doing like a flashback kind of thing in it's like a nostalgia. It's like Saved by the Bell cast.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be in Palm Springs. So they're like experimenting with that, kind of like Universal's experimenting with year-round horror with the Vegas thing, which is either going to be really successful or not. But I feel like it will be
based on where it's at. So it's interesting because the area it's in is not an area like where they actually put Area 15 at was an area that used to be called Scandia. It was like when I was growing up, it was like if anyone has a Scandia near them, mini golf, little go-karts, whatever. I expected it to fail miserably based on the location. The location is very difficult to get to.
Yeah, I tried to find it and I had a hell of a time. And then when I saw it, I was like, you guys got a ways to go. And it opens, the weekend of August 15th. Yeah, so,
but I think what it is Area 15 is somehow done so well that it's going to be fine. There'll be enough inner promotion and runoff that I think it'll be fine. Even though I'm very surprised that area is actually getting any kind of business whatsoever. But
yeah, it's definitely off the path for sure.
If you build it, they will come.
Well, so next to my office used to be a metal recycling plant. So what used to happen in front of that was you'd have a bunch of people, unhoused people, usually people on a lot of drugs that were stripping copper out of shit they stole, and would sell it to the recycling plant. And I don't think that recycling plant left. So I think it might be fun if the theme park right next to it are people stripping copper to sell to a recycling plant.
They better lock the doors to Horror Unleashed, man. And then fuck around, lose all your copper overnight, man.
So a dumb story I'll leave us with, but one time one of the guys from the recycling plant came over with this. It was like a drainage something off of our building that one of the guys had unscrewed and stolen and tried to sell to them. They're like, I think that goes to that building right over there. So they took it from him and just brought it back.
He's like, just fucking put it back, man.
Yeah. It was interesting. It'll be fun.
All right. Well, we appreciate everyone for listening. We would really appreciate if you give us a rating and review on iTunes, a like and subscribe on YouTube, a rating on Spotify, and follow us at Dads from the Crypt Talk on TikTok. And with that, we thank you for listening to Dads from the Crypt.
Follow Dads from the Crypt on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or I will follow you to the grave. No, seriously, you really should watch. But be careful what you ask for. You may get it.